Yes. Nice. Okay. Great. Yes, guys, what's going on? Yeah, so this is like a little update thing, yeah, that I wanted to do and speak about a few issues. Now that the whole narrative seems to be unraveling, it seems like the whole narrative is falling apart. So they're easing up all the you know what I'm talking about, the restrictions and stuff. So I wanted to talk about a few things today and touch on a few points as another kind of summation of stuff that we've spoken about. We've spoken about a lot of far out there stuff. Like, and I'm sorry we got a game behind us, but I'd rather have some life behind me today due to the fact I don't have music. And the spot's litting up better than I expected, so I chose here today. But yeah, guys, you can hear me, right? You can hear me properly. Let me know that you can hear me properly so I'm not wasting my time, yeah? But yeah, we spoke about some way out there stuff like reptilians, Anunnakis, religion, God, quantum physics, certain stuff that's not for the, you could say not for the first timer. You see what I'm saying? So I just wanted to touch on a few points and to touch on a few points to do with us within ourselves and the work that we have to do within ourselves. So with that being said, who paneteru menunud shayu kawun lalulbi, who he, she, the deities, who nothing exists except by way of the mother, father, creator, spirit, or force, yeah? I'll say that first. You can hear me, yeah? Brilliant. So let's go ahead and jump into this, man. I've been feeling to touch on these points. We were speaking about, we dissected the Anunnaki topic, right? Spoke about reptilians, greys, tall whites, Aldebarans, all of the demiurge. We spoke about the other side of the agenda with the dinghy or the diner, the righteous ones of the rocket ships, the good, black, woolly-haired, melanated beings who came through Orion and Sirius. And we spoke about a few things around that. What I wanted to clarify about the difference between these ancient ones and dragons, yeah? Hold on 1 minute, let me light my spliff and get into this. A lot of us are unaware, yeah, that there was a time when we'll call the reptilians dragons for this life, the dragons, and we'll call the gods the ancient ones. The dragons and the ancient ones lived in the same galaxy or constellation and side by side. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that was a part of what was called Project Blue Rock that was centered around this earth here, whereas after the war and they founded the Galactic Federation, they did an experiment to see if all these different species could live side by side of each other on the same, around the same planets without warring, without having conflict and stuff. The project was called Project Blue Rock and it was centered around planet Earth. This is before the dragons and the ancient ones in the physical form ascended to higher dimensions. They was in this third dimension also. It's important that we understand that and we get that point. So at first, the dragons, when this Project Blue Rock was going on, before they formed the Galactic Republic, they never used to interfere with nobody. So they would just watch their subjects, which means humans and all the other creations that they had, the gods had brought into existence, without interfering with the evolutionary cycle or the happenings of that species or the planet. That led, they couldn't hold out. The dragons didn't stay like that. They did start interfering after a while because they found out that they could use lower density beings as a food source, as an energy source. You see what I'm saying? So Project Blue Rock, yeah, was sort of like a genetic truce after the war, yeah? After the war with the insects we're talking about here. So we're talking about 90 billion years ago. There was a genetic truce, so to speak, yeah, where Project Blue Rock, centered around planet Earth or planet Tiamat, was used as a DNA bank or a DNA archive for all of these 23 different species of extraterrestrials that was involved in this war, in this conflict from these 19 galaxies. Experiment was started to see if we could live in peace alongside each other. And as I said, first, in the early stages of this experiment, the dragons or reptilians, they didn't interfere with nobody. They stayed in their zone. Now, as I said, they found out that they could use lower density beings as a food source. So because of that now, there's two things you can do. You can ascend and go to higher realms, or you can just use the beings underneath you and kind of vamp the energy off them and don't teach them about ascension or nothing. So whereas you have the ancient ones, the Rizkians, or the Dinir, the Dinga, the righteous ones, teaching humans and all of their subject how us ourselves, we could ascend to higher dimensions and ascend upwards. Do you understand what I'm saying? We were taught that by the black woolly head beings, whether you want to call them Elohims or Malaikat or Necheru or Anunnaki. We were taught that by the good guys, the woolly head beings, how to ascend and how to expand our consciousness with the pineal gland, opening the pineal gland and the chakra energy and stuff. Now the dragons, they were the opposite way around. They don't want to give their subjects the ability to ascend or the knowledge to ascend, because then that stops their food source. That stops them from having somebody to vamp down on. So from these two ideologies, from these two agendas, you get the good guys who are teaching beings how to ascend and how to grow their consciousness and expand. And then you have another set of beings, the other side of the agenda, who don't want to give that type of information out to the humans or to their subjects. So when you're dealing with the gods, they're going to teach you science and metaphysics and quantum mechanics. When you're dealing with the reptilians, they're the ones who are going to bring in all of this religious shit. They deal with religion, dragons, reptilians. God does not deal with religion. God and religion is two different things. Religion is a reptilian thing, where they want to vamp down on your energy, so they want you to venerate them, whatever God they're calling themselves. They want you to give your energy to them so they can use you as an energy source. You see what I'm saying? They don't want you to ascend. They want you to keep recycling and coming back here so they can feed off the energy that comes from your soul. Whereas the ancient ones, the Dinir, the Dingir, the righteous ones, they teach you about ascension and Kundalini awakening and pineal expression and stuff like that. So that's the two different agendas that we're talking about, yeah? And we had a technology, you could say a spiritual technology, where it was just for that purpose. You see, if we wanted to ascend and get into our astral self and get into the expansion of consciousness and stuff, we had certain spiritual technology in the form of text, writings, yeah, like the Emerald Formula, which is found in the Emerald Tablets, which teaches you how to shed your layers that the world's put on top of you to get down to your core, your astral self, your energy being, so that you could ascend. Do you see what I'm saying? We had that ascension technology in all of our cultures, from Kemet to the Olmecs to Sumeria to the Indus Valley. We had certain texts and codexes that will inform us on how to lighten our density so that we could vibrate at a higher frequency, speed up our vibration, leave this realm, transcend this realm and ascend to higher realms. You understand what I'm saying? The dragons, they stop at the 6th density where they're trapped, yeah, and they use all the beings underneath them as a food source or an energy source, so they're like parasitic. They need a host, okay? So, as I said, this was all before the first war with the reptilians. Remember, there was a war with the insects, but that developed into the Galactic Republic after this war with the first war with the reptilians, with the Old Republic under Tarnush. Do you understand what I'm saying? The reptilians deal with religion. Whether you're dealing with Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Zoroastrianism, Buddhism, any ism and schism, that's a reptilian thing. Doesn't matter how they're trying to coat it for you, because the gods, they deal with a high science and supreme mathematics. They ain't got no room for religion. Do you understand what I'm saying? Science is what the gods come to achieve. High science and high maths, you understand? Higher mysteries. And I want to say as well, watching a lot of videos that I've seen other people doing, there's a lot of the view that's being put out about the 5th density and new earth is that it's something new, like for a first time, and it's something we need to create. Like, we don't need to create a 5th density. The 5th density is always existing. It always has existed, and it always will exist. It's our vibration that we need to put into alignment with the 5th density. It's not necessarily something that we're going to create anew when we talk about new earth and 5D and stuff, because a lot of people out here are making it sound like that, like it's something new that we have to create this new 5D. And don't get me wrong, we do have to use brain power to bring it in and align ourselves with the 5D, but it's not something new, like it's the first time and we have to create this whole new idea of 5D. There's nothing new about it other than the fact that it's been missing. You understand? We ain't been operating in 5D. So in that sense, we're bringing it in now. It's new, but it's not new in the sense that it's the first time, like we're creating something out of nothing that's never been before. Do you understand? 5D, 6D, 7D, 8D, which is density or dimension, for lack of a better word, if you want to use dimension, it's always been there. It always is here, and it always will be here. You understand? Yeah, and I want to say as well, I don't know about you guys, but I can speak for myself. I'm going through a lot of my own challenges and stuff, and a lot of it involves pain as well. And I just want to say to people that pain gives us clarity. Do you understand? Karma, pain, lessons, all that type of stuff, that gives us clarity. Because what you'll find a lot of the time is happiness is blinding. When you're too happy, you're blinded. You're emotionally blind because you're too comfortable, you're too happy. You overlook and neglect a whole bunch of shit in your happiness. Whereas in your sadness, you pick up on every little detail. You see deeper meanings in everything. Do you understand? So sometimes the pain and the challenges is here to give you clarity and to develop that clarity into bigger and better strengths. Some of us are too comfortable. And when we get too comfortable and we get too happy, we start neglecting our responsibilities and things that we know we should be doing. Do you understand? I just wanted to put that out there. Yeah, because 2021 for me was both the best and the worst year in one. It's like the best year I ever had and the worst year I ever had. The best year in terms of a lot of downloads and a lot of new information and a lot of expanding in consciousness and stuff. And the worst year in the form of losing people I didn't expect to lose that quick, and working on your own flaws and your own shortcomings and getting out of your own way. Man, it was like the best and the worst year in one for me, 2021. Do you understand what I'm saying? But it gives me a clarity in this moment right now, right here, right now, that I've never had before. And for that, I give gratitude. I'm grateful for that shit. This is definitely the year, 2022, to put on the armor of God. A lot of us dealing with this information neglect sometimes that we're gonna get targeted by entities. We're gonna get psychic attacks. We're gonna get Agent Smiths. We're gonna get bots. We're gonna get discouragement. We're gonna get ridiculed. All of these fucking things that is against us out here. Sometimes it's very important for us to put on the armor of God. You understand? And when I say put on the armor of God, I'm talking about things like doing your meditations, doing your frequency healing work, bringing up stuff that's unhealed from the past that you know you need to you need to heal and close and let go of and shit like that. That kind of stuff there is definitely the work you need to be doing to put on the armor of God. Hold on. I'm not cold, but my hands are cold, so I keep making this go out. Yeah, so the armor of God is like, if you don't have it on right now, you're on a suicide mission. And the best thing I can tell you, the armor of God to me is a consciousness. It's a certain type of attitude. It's a certain type of alignment. And it enshrouds you in Merkaba energy. Your own aura becomes your force field. It's your shield, your Mogan shield. You understand? And it's to do with the vibration that you're able to reach, and not only reach, but maintain. And especially when you're navigating this maze, this labyrinth of a world that's throwing so much stuff at you. You understand? You have to take the time to be less and less affected by it. And how you do that is by putting on your armor of God, doing your vibrations, and doing your chants, doing your meditations, doing your frequency healing work, taking up something in your life that involves a process of discipline. So you're not just going to get the result overnight, but you have to commit yourself to the discipline yourself to get to a certain stage. Like, we need this shit here to put on the armor of God, because we're going to have to rely on that shit there. And you need self-scrutiny. You need to be able to scrutinize yourself honestly. Yeah, that's what I call the armor of God. Do you understand? And that will spark your consciousness expansion. And if you're already in a consciousness expansion, it will amplify it. It will put it on steroids. Do you understand what I'm saying? Put on the armor of God. Don't be out here on the battlefield dealing with certain levels of information and stuff, and you're not taking the time out from your busy schedule to say, you know what, let me take a 5 minutes and just say the all prayer. Or do you know what, let me take a 5 minutes and just bring myself present right now, right where I am at work. Or, do you understand? Just make yourself present. You understand what I'm saying? Put on the armor of God. Remind yourself that you're present, that you're in the eternal now. So you can decipher the past, you can document the now, and you can blueprint the future. That's how you do it with the armor of God. You understand what I'm saying? And there's a difference between staying busy and staying productive. A lot of people are busy. They're always too busy. Greetings to Empress Lotus. They're always too busy to come and see you, too busy to go out or take a moment for themselves. They're too busy. They don't have time. Do you understand? But busy is bullshit. Like how people always tell you grind 24/7 and all that type of shit. That's bullshit. You need rest. You understand? So instead of staying busy, I'm going to give you the jewel to stay productive. Make your business be something that's productive to get you towards closer to your goals and closer to your ambitions. Don't just be busy for the sake of being busy and just be busy doing, because it's not about being a human doing. It's about being a human being. And to be a human being, you just have to get more into you and more into creating time for yourself, because time's not real anything anyway. So if you say, what's up, Celestial Samurai? If you hear people saying they're too busy and all that kind of stuff, like they're on the wrong wiring. Yeah, they're on the wrong wiring. One, you're supposed to create your own time, because time is a mental construct. And two, yeah, if you say you're too busy, then they're just busy doing anything. If someone says they're being productive, that's a whole different thing. I'd like to be productive rather than be busy. Busy is draining, man. And sometimes you're busy and it gets you nowhere. Also, when I was talking about the armor of God, group visualizations and meditations play a major role in the paradigm shift that human beings are going through right now. I remember in 2020, where there was this world meditation thing, and I'd never done nothing like that before. But there was like, yo, everybody around the world, we want you to meditate and pray away this demiurge, visualize it, that whole kind of shit. And the timing it was for England, it was like fell at something like 3 a.m. I don't know if maybe Paper and certain guys might remember it. And we was all buzzed about it because I'd never did it before. And I'm telling you, when I did that group meditation with people, I bled tears out myself, visualizing a better world and taking out these demiurge and shit like that. And you could feel the collective, because a lot of us in the group at the time, we did it together. So we all did it from our homes and spoke about the experience that we had. And I'm telling you, it was a life-changing experience. I want to do more, and I want to do it among the Telegram group, and among our own circles, because it's part of us coming together to that collective consciousness that I told you about, that will, that attention. Do you understand what I'm saying? That currency where we're paying for another experience. We need to be getting together in these Telegram groups. If anyone's interested, hit me up in the Telegram group, the forum. If you need the link, I'll leave the link on the thread, yeah? Because it comes down to this, guys. I'm gonna ask you guys a couple of questions right now that I really want you to ask yourself. Like, it's not me being cocky and trying to say, well, I write books and I do this, what do you do? But I want to ask you these questions so you can play this back to yourself when you're in that moment where you're just in your head. And I want you to ask yourself these questions. Seriously, hold on. So here goes the questions, yeah? What role do you play in this revolution? In this awakening, yeah, what role do you play? And do you feel everybody has a role? If you do feel everyone has a role, what role do you feel you play in this awakening? Okay? You could be a healer, you might be a teacher, you might be an artist, you might be a writer, you might be somebody who just puts good thoughts out in the cosmos to help people. You might be someone who uses your social media to spread information. What role do you play in this awakening? Do you understand what I'm saying? You might be a social worker, you might be a community officer. You understand? What's your purpose? What do you feel your purpose is here now? Do you understand? And have you identified your power? I've identified my powers. Have you identified your powers? What are they and how are you using them? You understand what I'm saying? Also, who are you? Have you asked yourself, who are you? Like, if you was to ask yourself that for an answer, who are you? Do you understand? And are you honest with yourself if you was to ask yourself that question? Do you accept the honesty of those answers? Yeah. Where are you from? Yeah. What group are you from? I mean, what constellation is your soul essence from? What sky family are you from? Are you from the Rizkians? Are you from the Proteans? Are you from the Hindus? Are you from the who are you from? Are you from the reptilians? These are questions you need to be asking yourself. Who is your sky family? How can you improve yourself? What are you bringing to the table? What do you bring to this awakening? You understand? Which goes back down to what role do you play? Yeah? Are you truthful to yourself? Do you give time to yourself? Do you give time to spiritual things? I mean, if you compare it against the time that you spend online, or the time that you watch TV, or the time that you might watch Love and Hip Hop or whatever, do you give time to yourself? And do you give time to your Elohim, your sky family, your God? Do you give time? You understand? And do you expect God to give you time? Like, based on the time you give to God? What if the Anunnaki or God or Elohim said, okay, this is how much time this person's giving me, I'm only going to give them the time they're giving me? Would you be all right with that? Because obviously you know how much time you give to these topics. Yeah, because a lot of people expect the Anunnaki to give them time when this shit goes down. Yeah, but how much time do you give to bettering yourself and studying the teachings? You understand? Are you in this for yourself? Or are you in this for other people? Like, I'm not doing this for me. This life is not for me. Do you understand? I know I'm not going to be famous. I know I'm not going to be rich. Not off this shit. So this is not for me. This is for you. So therefore, I'm not just for me. Like, my books is not for me to sit down and read. So therefore, it's for you. Do you understand what I'm saying? So are you for yourself? Or are you for others? Are you operative or are you speculative? Do you have an opinion about everything, but you don't have a product or a service to offer humanity? You don't operate nothing, but you speculate everything. Are you operative or speculative? Yeah. Are you in this for yourself? Do you understand? And have you unmasked the demiurge for yourself? Are you happy with your definition of what this evil is that's going on the planet Earth right now, and what even this universe is and shit like that? Are you happy with your overstanding of that? Do you understand? Right, let me speed this up because I know this battery's gonna die because it wasn't fully charged and I didn't even expect to be on this long, but I enjoy talking to you guys. You get me in my element. I'll just run through this, yeah? Purity and honesty is everything. All your powers will return if you are honest with yourself, and when you are honest with yourself, and when you work on what you find. All them unhealed parts that you've been avoiding, all them unhealed parts that have been buried beneath layers of this, that, and the other, work, pay bills, and whatever. Do you understand what I'm saying? All your powers will return once you're honest with yourself and you start working on what you find. Yeah, because it's all down to mental projection. Overstanding is just mental projection. The picture you get in your head when I'm saying these things to you, or when I'm speaking about Anunnaki, you're supposed to have a projection in your head. That's your overstanding. Do you understand? Your mental projection. You understand? Wisdom is knowledge in action, especially when under pressure. Do you understand? But your mental projection is your overstanding. Yeah? Envisioning the goal. Yeah? Envisioning the victory. Yeah? Become a visionary, a seer, where you visualize the stuff that you need to manifest. You see it. Do you understand? Even in the world at large, you see the happy ending where we clean this world of all these demons. You understand? It goes back to pictures, yeah, and the real that we spoke about, and conscious creation and unconscious creation, but especially conscious creation, which involves conscious intent. You intended to do something and you acted on your intention, yeah. And remember this, guys, the awakening process is not a click of a finger, bam. You watched a documentary, or you heard something, or you asked a question and got an answer, and all of a sudden now you're woke, you're awake. It's not an instant, it's a process. The process has long begun. Yeah, you can guarantee yourself the process has long begun, but it's not something that's going to happen in an instant. And remember, religions in the form that they are today, that's a reptilian thing. I don't care if you tell me you're a Hebrew Israelite. I don't care if you tell me you're a Moorish Science Temple Muslim. I don't care if you're Nation of Islam. Whatever you call yourself, if you term it religion and you're dealing with a bunch of rituals and an organization which is institutionalized, then you're dealing with a reptilian thing. Do you understand? Reptilians are the ones who brought in religion when they started interfering with the projects and didn't want to tell people about ascension. That's why Christianity is not going to tell you you can ascend. Islam's not going to talk to you about no ascension shit. Yeah, Hebrew Israelites are not going to talk to you about no ascension shit. They're just going to keep telling you pray to God. For every fucking thing that happens on the planet, pray to God, who's the one responsible for everything that's happening on the planet. That's what they're going to tell you, okay? And it's not about no natural selection with the Darwinism. Yeah, because Darwinism can't account for the human mind. The theory of Darwinism cannot explain how the human mind came about and why animals don't speak and interact like we do. Do you understand? So Darwinism is a dud. Yeah, there's no natural selection. There is intelligent design. Everything is done with the super consciousness, the 1 billion, 8 million. There's no natural selection, what these Mzungu are trying to tell us about. And the Outer Africa theory that they're giving you, the Mzungu, that's also a bullshit theory, because it's based on that monkey Neanderthal business. Do you understand? The real truth of the planet Earth can only be told using the Asian astronaut hypothesis. And Neanderthal wasn't even native to Africa. It's not even the same kind of hominid. It's its own thing completely. As I said, reptilians interfered with the project, yeah? And they started a nuclear war on Mars. And it's proven by people like Richard Hoagland, yeah, that wrote the book The Mars Mystery. He used to work for NASA, and they proved that the isotopes in the rocks on Mars is way too high compared to other places like Earth. And the only way that the isotopes could be so high is some kind of nuclear detonation happened instantly with an instant heat that fried off the surface of Mars and a lot of the atmosphere. The geezer, if you want to research that, is named Richard Hoagland, yeah? And remember that this Earth, just like the Akasha records, the Earth has her own genetic memory bank, Gaia, and we can tap into it anytime we want. I know I'm blasting through this, but my battery's gonna die. I keep doing this to myself, but I'll probably touch these subjects again at another time, guys. And just remember, you as the carbonite, yeah, just like the plants have chlorophyll and they break down the sunlight and turn it into different minerals and shit, your melanin is chlorophyll. You as a carbonite, you are a plant. You do the same thing with the sunlight that the plants are doing with their chlorophyll. You just call it melanin. Do you understand? And remember what I said, you will hear a lot of Mzungu talking about sun worship, sun worship. And remember what I said, because they're in the reptilian mind, where they're looking at it from a religious sense. Whereas our ancestors, they weren't into no religious reptilian shit. We was on the scientific side. So when they seen us glorifying the sun and that, we was on some metaphysics, on some quantum physics and shit. Wasn't about no singing no fucking hymns in the way that people do in church today. On some fucking, you understand what I'm saying? But their mind's in a religious mind. That's why most people into religion, they failed science. Do you understand? And that's why most people that master science, they ain't got no time for religion. Because it's like oil and water. Do you understand? And remember, I'm talking about real science. I'm not talking about nursery science that they put out officially and give us in school and shit. That's a nursery science of the West. Yeah? So sun worship, what they call heliocentrism, isn't always sun worship in the sense they're trying to tell you. That's coming from someone who's religious, who wants to worship Jesus or worship Allah or worship Yahweh, because they're dealing with that worship. They're not dealing with the veneration and the reverence in the same way we're doing, in the same gratitude, yeah, for having warmth, yeah, for having fire to cook food, you understand, for having enough heat so we can be outside without clothes, so having a tropical climate. We venerated that shit, hell yeah. And remember, science of today is a religion. So you can see it as the religion of science. And that's also just like religion. That's why I'm saying it's nursery science. When I give you the comparison, I'm talking about real science. Yeah, this science they give us in the world today is no different than religion. It's a religion in itself, this Western science to do with Newton and Isaac Newton and Albert Einstein and all of that bullshit. You understand? That's a dragon science. That's some reptilian thing where they've made a religion out of science. Yeah, and remember what I said, they're parasitic hosts. Not just reptilians, but insectoids too. Greys as well. And certain Neteru. Certain of the evil Neteru. Yeah? And I'll end on this. Your world is being run by avatars. People like Jedefre are few and far between, because I'm willing to go on record to tell you that is not your fucking government in government. Them people or beings that are running your government are avatars, they're entities who are using meat suits or human suits just like we use cars. And they're breaking down this fucking world, and you guys better wake up quick, man, and help me with this shit. Ask yourself with them questions that I told you to ask yourself. I'm gonna get off because this battery's gonna die out in a minute. So I hope you can glean from this, like, share, whatever. Yeah, but most importantly, ask yourself them questions yourself, man. Look in the mirror and do it, and find the answers for that, for all them questions that I gave you. Yeah, with that being said, we love you all. Yeah, thanks for all the comments that you left, guys. I'll check that once I load this shit up. Yeah, peace, namaste.